and then we will see so how to work with a environmental locking concept. This environmental locking is your internal business object. Internal business objects, which is already available as a internal business object, and then we can go into use this for environmental so locking. So here, okay, so assume that before that I will give one example. So in our offices, so we will have a shared drive, right? We'll have a shared drive will be there, and then we all want to, if you want to update our leave plans in a Excel file, then that Excel file is kept on a shared drive. So if you want to update everyone at the same time, is it possible? No, right? If the one person is working on that particular Excel, if the one person is open, and then if you are updating something, other person can't able to edit that one, because it will give you lock with that particular person name, right? So when you are accessing, it will create lock, create lock on your name. If another person want to access, then what you have to do, you have to save that, and then you have to close. You have to save and you have to close. Then it means here you are indirectly releasing lock, right? You are releasing lock. Then only another person can able to edit, or he can able to edit the Excel file, right? The same way here we have a concept of environmental locking. Here the concept is, first, for example, assume that we have a process 1, and then at the same time we have a process 2. Process 1 and process 2, assume that both are using same resources. Both are using same resources. Or we can consider, so these both are dependency process. If process 1 is running, process 2 should not run. If process 2 is running, process 1 should not run. Understood, right? Both are dependency process. If one process is running, another process should not run. If another process 2 is running, process 1 should not run. Or we can assume that in both the process you are using same resources. It means it can be anything. It can be a file, or it can be a collection, whatever it may be. If you are using same file, same Excel file in the both the process, or if you are using same collection details in both the process, then we will call it as the same resources we are using in the both the process. At the same time, if you have any dependencies, the process 1 is running, process 2 should not run, process 2 is running, process 1 should not run. In these situations we are going to use environmental locking. So this is your internal business object. Here you will have 3 actions. In environmental locking you will have 3 actions. Remember, by default we have to use all these 3 actions in your any process. When you are using environmental locking, must and should we have to use all these 3 processes. Those are, first one will be query lock. Query lock, it means this action, this is a query lock, is a action name. This one, what it will do is, it will check whether lock is available or not. To check whether the lock is available or not, we will use query lock. And another one is acquire lock. This acquire lock, it will create a lock. It will create a lock for your process. And another one is release lock. It is going to release existing lock which is available on the process. These are the 3 actions you will have in your environmental locking. Every time when you are working with this environmental locking, you have to use all these 3 actions. One is query lock, acquire lock, release lock must and should. Query lock, it will check whether you have a lock or not. Acquire lock, it will create a lock, and release lock, it is going to release your existing lock. So this is the, so now here, so what we are going to do is we will create a process. We will create a process and we will use collection here. We will use a collection. When you are using a collection, we will create some records and then we are going to calculate total salary. Same process, we will do it in another process. Same thing, whatever we are going to do, we will do it in another process, and we will see how to work with this. And one more thing here, so before going to this, remember when you are working with a environmental locking, if you want to lock any process, lock name should be the same for your processes. Then only it will consider the lock is available or not. Lock name, based on lock name, it should be same. Should be same for all the locks. Generally, what they are going to do is they are going to create this lock name in environmental variable. Once they will create it in environmental variable, so then they are going to use this lock in a multiple process. It will be like that. Now we'll see so how to work with it. Now just let me open this. Create a new process. env environmental locking. Next, finish. Double click on this. Here what we are going to do is we are working with a process 1. Assume that we are in a process 1. Now here we need to use a collection here. Double click. We create a add a field. So let's assume that we need to calculate total salary for this collection. Salary will be number and initial value, and how many records we require. You can create a number of records here, right? So like this. Now give some values. Now we have some salaries. Okay, click OK. Now how many records we have? Around 15 records we have in your 16 records we have in our collection. Okay, so now we need to calculate total salary for this. Generally what we are going to do for this, we will use calculation, right? When you are using calculation, so but this calculation has to be done for this collection, so we have to use loop. Wherever you are using collection, we are going to use a loop. Okay, so this is the thing what we are going to do. So now just give the link. This, and here we click, we need to calculate total salary. So we'll create another data item for total salary. And then data type, number, initial value you can take it as a 0, and then we need to calculate here total salary values. Total salary will be your collection dot salary, right? Collection dot salary plus this total salary. Again you are going to assign it to total salary. That's it. But for this loop, we are going to assign the collection name. Now for this collection, so it is going to calculate total salary for this loop. Okay, if you run this, what it will do? So it will run and it will calculate total salary for this all the collection records here. Okay, this is the thing what it is going to do. Now, but so our requirement is when you are running a process, first what we need to do is we need to create a log for this process. We need to create a log. It has to create a log, and then when you are another process is running in between this dependency process, it should not run, because this process is still running. See this, still running, that process it should not run. So that is our requirement. For that, what we are going to do is, first what we need to do is, we need to check whether the lock is available or not. If the lock is available, then it has to wait. If the lock is not available, then we need to create a lock. We need to create a lock. For that, we are going to use action, double click, we'll go to internal business object. See this one, environmental locking, internal business object. This is to check lock, to check lock. For that, what we will use, see this, query lock. Query lock. Query lock means it will check whether the lock is available or not. If it wants to check whether the lock is available or not, we need a lock name, right? We need lock name. So which, based on which one it is going to check? Based on lock name. Lock name should be, always it should be unique. Only one lock name we are going to use for the dependency process. Now click OK. We need a lock name here. So create a lock name in a data item. This is for, give any name, lock, just let it be lock, and then text, you can give some value, lock. This process is lock, let it be. Now this is your lock name here. Now double click. When you are checking a lock, so based on which one it is going to check the lock is available or not, based on this name. If the lock is available, then what it means by that, see this, lock held. It is a flag. Lock held is a flag. It will tell whether the lock is available or not based on the flag. If the lock is available, it will give you true. If the lock is not available, it will give you false. True or false. Based on true or false, it is going to decide whether the lock is available or not. Click OK. So now lock held, it will contains the lock held or not. It means true or false it will give you. Now here this, what we need to do, we are checking whether the lock is available or not. If the lock is available, then we have to create a lock. Sorry, if the lock is available, it has to wait. If the lock is not available, then we have to create a lock. If lock is available, it has to wait. If the lock is not available, it has to create a lock. So here we have two conditions. So what we have to use? We have to use decision here. We will use a decision, give the link, and in a decision, so how you are going to check whether the lock is available or not? Based on your lock held, right? If the lock held is true, just give the flag, then automatically it will give you true or false. If it is true, lock is held, so then it has to go to this. If the lock is not there, then it has to come to this and it has to create another lock, right? Now give the link, observe this. If the lock is available, give the anchor here and then have this. If the lock is available, again it is going to check, so unless it will release the lock. If the lock is not available, then what we need to do, we need to create a lock here. Observe this, another action, double click. So this is to create lock, and then use the business object name, work queues, environmental locking, and then see this, acquire lock. It means it is creating a lock. So for which one it is creating lock? What is the lock name? This one, right? And then here, so if you observe output, token. Remember, always this lock, when you are releasing, it will release the lock based on the token number. So it will create some number. So for this, and it is going to create input. We have given a so lock, and then so here we have given token number. So remember this token. Okay, token means it will create some sequence number internally. So to for this particular lock when it is creating. Now we'll see that. We'll run and then we will see. Just this. Okay. Now here what it will do? Reset. It will check here whether your lock is available or not. If it is not available, so then it is going to create a lock, right? And then it will continue the process. Always remember, before starting your process in a start stage itself, we are going to create a locks, acquire lock and create lock. Acquire lock is nothing but a create lock. Query lock is nothing but checking your lock. Now just we are running here. Observe this, what is happening. See this, check. Lock is false. Lock held, what it says? It is false. It means we don't have lock. So it's created a lock. When it's created a lock, how come we know that it's created lock or not? Based on token number. See this? It has given some token number. Based on this, it is going to create a lock. Okay, so let it be. Pass it. Now it is running, right? Lock is available. Still it is available. And what we are going to do is right click, set next stage, and then run. See this? What it is doing now? Here, if you observe, see this? It is continuously checking here because previous run, so it's not resetted, and then so it is in the same process. Still token is available. Still lock is available. See this? Lock held is true. It says that lock held is true. It means so lock still it is available here, so we can't able to so continue the process. We will see that. So to do this, so what we have to do, if you want to come out from this, we need to release the lock. We created a lock, but we did not release the lock, right? Now what we will do is we have to release a lock. After completion of the process, we need to release that lock. Use action, double click. Here we need to use environmental locking, release lock. So what will be the lock name? This one. And then observe this token number. Token, it is asking token to release the lock. That's it. So it is going to release the lock for this, and then it will be lock will be released after completion of this process. Understood, right? So now we'll see this. See this, all these things we are using in a same process. Check lock, and then acquire lock. If the lock is not available, so create a lock, nothing but a acquire lock, and then after that we are continuing the so process. After the completion of the process, we are so using release lock also. So these two things is for, one is this is for releasing a lock, this is for release lock, release lock, right? So all these three things we implemented in a same process. Always remember, we need to implement all the actions in a same process, like acquire lock, query lock, acquire lock, query lock, and then release lock. Okay, so now we will run this. Observe this, what is happening. Lock is not available, and then it's created a lock, and then it is continuing, right? After that completion of the process, it will release lock. Here it is going to release the lock, so it will be like that. Okay, so what we will do is, for the better understanding, the same process we will use it in a some other process, we will create in another process, and then we will see how the dependency jobs going to work, how this dependency process is going to work, right? We will see that. If so, what is our requirement? If one process is running, another process should not run, right? See this, it's release dot and then it then came out. Okay, so now we'll copy the same thing to another process. Okay, reset. Let it be this for one process. We create another process. In the same process also, what we are going to do is we will copy the same thing. We will stick here. Now, this. And this is another process for us. Two process totally we have, right? See this is the one process, and this is another process. So we have two processes, right? That one and this one. Now we will run one by one and we will see that what is our requirement. If one process is running, another dependency process should not run, right? Okay, so let me run any one process first. Reset, run. This is running, right? Immediately I will run this one. Observe this process it executing, and what about this process? This another process we are running, right? So it says that lock is true. It means this process is still running. So once this process is completed and it release the lock, left hand side process, then the right hand side process will run properly. It will understand that lock has been released. After that it is going to continue. Just observe this carefully. See this, once this is done, released, see this here, now it's processing. See this lock is false. It means lock is completed. That's right. So like this we can able to use acquire lock and then release the locks. All this, remember, when we are using environmental locking, must and should we have to use all the actions: acquire, release, and then query lock. And one more thing, when we are using a lock name should be the same for the dependency process. Same lock name we have to use for all the dependency processes. Okay, so that is one more thing we need to remember. So now it will be one. Now what we are going to do is we will see how to save this. What is the concept of work queues? This is about environmental locking. We go to work queues. This is very important. Also we'll call it as a work queues. Work queue or queues. Okay, what it mean by that? Work queue or queue. In general terms, what it mean by a queue? Queue means it's nothing but sequence, first in first out process, right? First in first out process, we will call it as a queue. The same way we have a queue option here. Queue basically for two purposes here we are going to use. One is for validation. Another purpose is for parallel processing. One is for validation, another one is for parallel processing. Okay, how the queue is going to work when you are working with it. So first we will discuss what may be the example, where we can able to use the queue. Assume that we have 10,000 records we need to process. We need to give it to some application. 10,000 records we have to give it to one application. What it will do is it will pick the data from an Excel file and then it will give it to the application. The application will calculate something. Let's assume that it is calculating a salary for all the employees, and then it will calculate what will be the tax for the employee, and then what will be the HRA and all those things, and then it will distribute the salary to that particular bank. Okay, it will tell to the bank, so this is the salary for this employee ID, this is the salary for this account number. So before that, it will calculate everything based on the tax, based on the designation and all those things. Assume that that is the thing that application is doing. When you are processing 10,000 records, it will calculate all the taxes and then final salary. So what is the amount it has to be credited to the each and every employee for all the 10,000 records it has to do. That is our application. When you are processing 10,000 records, assume that somewhere like 3 to 4 records we don't have proper account number. If you don't have a proper account number for these 3 to 4 records, then what it will happen in a bot? It will fail, right? It is going to fail. Then how to handle this situation? If you come to exceptions, you can use exception and then you can skip that. But how come you are going to know that? Which particular record we have an exception, right? We doesn't know, right? For which particular record we have an exception when it is failing. Suppose it has improper account number for 4 records. In 10,000 we have a 4 records. In between, somewhere after 5,000 records processing, we have 1 record is improper, and then after we don't have proper account number. After 9,000 records we don't have proper account number for another one. So how we are going to identify this? It's very difficult, right? You can't able to identify the where you have invalid account numbers, right? In this situation, what we are going to do is we are going to first decide in these 10,000 records, we are going to decide how many valid records, how many invalid records we have. Valid records we will call here as a completed records. Invalid records we will call it here as a exception records. So these things we can able to achieve by using a queue concept. Before giving the data to the application itself, we are deciding how many valid records, how many invalid records we have in a application. How many valid, how many invalid records. And one more thing, when we are working with a queue, see here, always we are going to use this queue for any data set, but that data set, it means data set is, don't confuse, it's a nothing but a data. For example, if you have 10,000 records, we'll call it as a data set. If you have 1 lakh records, 1 lakh data set. Okay, nothing but group of volume of the data, we'll call it as a data set. Here, if you have 10,000 records data set, we need to validate how many and how many invalid. This data set, you need to assign it to a queue. When you are assigning this data set to a queue, what we are going to do is, we need to check what is your primary key. Primary key in your data set. Remember, must and should, we need to check what is your primary key in your data set. Based on primary key only, the queue is going to work. Primary key means it's not null, and unique value, right? This should not be not null and unique value. So that is a record, we will call it as a primary key. If you don't have a primary key in your data set, must and should, we have to create a primary key for your data set. Then only we can able to work with a queue. Always remember, must and should. You should have at least one primary key in your data set. Based on primary key, we will work with queue. And when you are working with a queue, queue is your internal business object. Queue is your internal business object. We are going to create a work queue by using system manager. By using system manager, we are going to create a work queue. Once the work queue is created in a system manager, then you can able to see that status of the work queue in control room. The work queue status, always it should be running. Always it should be running. Then only you can able to work with a queue. If it is not running, so if it is in past, then you can't able to work with a queue, work queue. And so here, when we are working with a queue, so we have some statuses for a work queue in a control room. Those are pending. First is pending, another one is locked, another one is completed, another one is exception. So these are the four statuses you will have it in a work queue. One is pending. Pending means the record is readily available. Record is readily available to process in a queue. Available to process in queue. That is nothing but pending. If the record is processing, it means when the record is running or processing in a queue, then that record will be locked. When the record is running or if it is processing in a queue, then that will be locked. Okay. And then completed, it's valid record. And exception, it is invalid record. Based on the business rule, you are going to check whether the record is valid or not. What it means by that business rule? For example, account number. So you have a account number. Account number should not be greater than 12 digits, and it should be so less than 12 digits. Length of the account number, it should be greater than 12 and less than 12. At the same time, it should not be null. Account number should not be null, right? So these are the business validation they are good. For example, when you are working with a person's age, so age should not be so greater than 100, it should be less than 22. That is the condition. Business, that is the business rule. Based on the business rule, we are going to decide whether the record is valid or not. And one more thing, here when we are working with a queue, when the records is processing in a queue, we will call each and every record as a work case. Don't get confused. Work cases, we will call that as a work cases. When the record is processing, when we are working with a queue, we will call that as a work cases. Work case. Each and every record by record basis it will process. This record by record we will call it as a work cases. Each and every record we will call it as work case. Now just I will show you so where to create a queue and what will be the status of the queue, so how it looks like. So then in next class we will see so exactly how to work with a queue, how to create a queue, so how to validate, how to get valid records, how to get invalid records, how to complete it, and then how to implement the exception. And these are okay. First thing is valid or invalid records. Another thing is parallel processing, right? That parallel processing is, suppose assume that to process 10,000 records in a single bot, or single process, it is taking more than 6 hours time. But client says that I don't want to run this record for 6 hours. And to run this within 2 hours only. Then what we are going to do? If we want to run within 2 hours, then what we have to do is we have to split the data, or we need to run three bots at the same time for the same data, right? For the same data, we need to run a three bots, or we need to split the data. So then what will happen? So before it is running 6 hours, if you are running with the three processors, so each and every process will take 2 hours time. So within, so far, sorry. So if you run with, so two process, each and every process will take three process 2 hours time. So within 2 hours it is going to complete, right? So parallel processing also we can able to do that by using a queue. We will see that. So going forward, how to work with a queue. So how to do the parallel processing. Before, I will show you how to create a queue where you can able to see that queue concept. See, this system will have a system. In a system, you will have an option called work queues. See this work queue. Here you have to create a queue. And when you are creating a queue, observe this key name, right? It is asking key name. Key name is nothing but, see this what it is telling, take from the process studio collection field. It means from your data. We need to take it from our data. When you are taking the value from the data here, so it should be your primary key. It should be your primary key. Always it should be primary key. Once you created a queue, when you click on a queue, click on a new, it will be created a queue. We need to give the name, and then we need to give key name is nothing but primary key, and then we need to click on apply. Once you apply it here, then you can able to see that queue name in control room. Observe this. Come to the control room. Observe all these other queue management, right? Work queue. See this queues, and observe this. Click on any one queue. Observe the status of the queue. Always work queue status should be running. Then only we can able to work with the queue. Otherwise, it's not possible. And then here, if you observe down in a output window here, see this status completed. What is the status? Completed. This status exception. See this exception. This status exception. Completed and exceptions. When the record is readily available to run, then we will call it as a pending. If it is processed, then it is a completed. For example, all are processed, so it says that, so it is pending, right? See this. So if any record, if it is here available here, then you will call it as a pending. So we'll see that. So when we are working with a queue, when we created a queue, so then when we load the data to the queue, you can able to see the status here as a pending. When the record is running, here the status you can able to see it as a locked. When it is processing, it will be locked. When it is completed, it means valid for the business rule. See this exception, it's saying that it's exception. Observe the reason. Exception reason is invalid value in commission field, right? It says that invalid value. So like that, we can able to display, we can able to decide how many valid records, how many invalid records. Once you decided valid and invalid, then we can able to process only valid records to one process, and then invalid records to another process. Okay, understood, right? We will see that in next class. So how to work with this queue, and how to create a queue. So how to decide the valid and how to decide invalid records, how to do the parallel processing. So this is very important topic. So it will take another 2 to 3 classes for, especially for the queue. Okay, just try to concentrate on this. So any questions here? Yeah, sure. Let me open that one. For example, this one reset, and we are running this. So lock held, right? So lock held, observe that data type will be flag, right? True or false. It will give always true or false. So because we have taken it as a flag, by default it will take it as a flag. Okay. Now when you are running this, run this, observe the flag name, see this, false, right? It means lock is not available. It says that lock is not available here. That's why it is saying that the lock is, see this, current value, false, right? It has taken it as a false. When you are running another one now, log 2, go to the log 2, and then there lock is available, right? Lock held. Okay, here just observe, lock is not available there and it has been created a lock. When you are running this now, another process, see this, what it says, lock held, true, because there with this lock name already lock is created, and then this process is not completed still, we passed it, right? It's not completed, so here it's created a lock is not available, it created a lock, and then in another process it is showing that yes, lock is available on the process. So that's why it is waiting for release a lock. Once it is released here, once it is release the lock, so with this lock token number it will release a lock for this particular lock name, then automatically it will process this one. Okay, is it clear? Srividya? So any other questions? Okay guys, thank you, see you tomorrow. Suppose I was saying something, just a minute. Can I use sleep in a first process and start a second process? Yeah, we can use a sleep. So, but the thing is, when you use a sleep, okay, so what will happen? So, sleep will be for specific period of time, right? So, we have to mention sleep for specific period of time. For example, 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 20 seconds, right? After the sleep, we can able to do that. That is fine. But so we need to understand, we don't know how much time it is going to take, the process, right? Got it right, Kusma? Okay, thank you. Okay, Kusma. Bye bye.